Welcome to the next panel on the AI song contests. Today we're going to talk about can musical AI be alive? And also, does it matter? Is it culturally relevant? And what are the challenges around that? So we've got some great panelists today that are joining me. And I'd like to just kick it off to them to do a round of intros. So let's start with Stella Tavella. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Ryan. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. So I'm Stella. I'm an AI engineer. I have expertise in music information retrieval. Now I'm working at Musicxmatch, where I'm mainly focused on NLP and lyrics analysis. In parallel, I'm also an experimental electronic music producer, and I try to use AI as a tool to enhance my sound design and my composition process.
Great, thanks a lot. Ash, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me on the panel. I'm Ash Koosha. I've been working in electronic music, technology for music, and visual arts for most of my life. Been trying to push the boundaries of new forms and new methods to create audio and visual media. And currently the co-founder of Auxuman and Orbit. Auxuman is a company that focuses on building virtual beings and virtual worlds to accommodate humans and AI in fun ways.
Great. CJ from Dadabots, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi, CJ from Dadabots. We generate AI death metal. We have a sample RNN death metal model that's been playing on YouTube via live stream for 2 years, 24/7. We started at music school, but since doing AI music, we have not practiced our instruments. We're embarrassingly out of practice. Our musicianship is completely atrophied. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I hear that. And so my name's Ryan Groves. I am the founder of Infinite Album, and we're also working in the AI music generation space. We are essentially replacing game soundtracks for live streamers to address the copyright problem, and then also to let the streamers engage with their audience through music. So that's what we do at Infinite Album. So I've collected a little bit of the work of our panelists for an introduction. So I'd like to roll the video of those works. Great. So yeah, I thought I'd just start maybe in order. We can go through some of the techniques that we've used to create some of those pieces of work. And yeah, CJ, it was great to see your reaction to Ash's incomplete video. It was like a mini reaction video right there. Yeah, so CJ, you know what I wanted to highlight with your works is that a lot of your stuff is sort of genre based. So can you tell us a bit about how you approach creating new models for generating music?
Sure. So the hardest part of this is finding people that'll donate GPU credits to us to train these models, because yeah, every time we train a model, it costs hundreds of dollars in cloud compute. So that's the hard part. And exploring it, like in order to find a model that's going to work across many genres or in like one particular genre for a particular project, like you have to do dozens, like even 100 like hyperparameter searches to find those right settings that are it's going to get the best quality music, and that requires credits. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in the videos we saw a little bit about Reap's second self, and then we also saw some free jazz and some heavy metal. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Reap's project?
Sure. So we trained a sample RNN model on his beatboxing, and for him, he was like thinking about opponent design, because beatboxing culture, it's there's a lot of competitions. It's a co-opetition, everyone's friends, but out of that, people's skills get like way amped, and the best rise to the top. And so Reaps, he has already won the UK beatbox champion. He's like worldwide known. So we needed to design him a machine opponent that would be able to push his skills even further. And working directly with him for over a year on this, that's exactly what happened. Like he started doing brand new patterns that the machine was doing. He was trying to imitate the machine, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. Sort of thinks of it as like the way a chess opponent can if the difficulty is just above where you are, then it actually improves your game to play against that opponent.
That's so great. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to get a brief overview from all the panelists on the technical side. So Ash, can you tell us a little bit more about Yona and your super group of musical artists? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for super group, they first have to be super, each one of them, to make it a super group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say the biggest challenge, I have to start with this, is the biggest challenge with AI music in general, whatever you want to call AI music, is how you work different systems in one. It's like how do you match like a MIDI based system with an audio based system, generative audio versus like a MIDI automated sort of sequencer or something that launches the audio. So the biggest challenge with Yona was the same thing. Yona was first a voice module, basically. But I was like manipulating deep voice years back when it came out, the paper came out, and then started like using this voice on my own records. So it's like, forget about human singer, like guest singers. Let's use a transformer for lyrics, and then put it together with a deep voice model, and then like just put it on an album. And it actually worked. The first track came, I was like, this is really emotional. It's like, actually some people are messaging me and they're like, this is really emotional. What is this? And at the beginning I was saying, this is a real person, just like a auto-tune person. And yeah, so further down the line, I was like, okay, what if I do the same thing with the instruments? How do I basically just generate tons of samples? And at first I used 4 decks with 4 Seratos on 4 laptops. This is 2012. Yeah, 2012. And these were running for a day, and I would find instances. Each one of them were following different sort of MIDI instructions, MIDI instructions that were running on different laptops, different samples. And then at some point, they worked as a band together, these 4 CDJs, basically, these decks. And that was the beginning of all of this, imagining collage music that is sort of performed by different systems, and you put it together, whether it's as I said, MIDI bass or audio sampling or live mechanics of the deck, and then put it through one synthetic performer, which we named Yona at the beginning. Yeah, that became this multi-system entity that was working in the background on multiple methods, and the final result was basically this performer that had a kind of semi-human look, like an NPC from a game almost. Yeah, and where this probably is going to go for myself and the team that I've been working it with is basically creating NPCs that are musicians, sort of game like GTA style or Red Dead style game characters that are musicians, have their own sort of musical taste, and obviously based on what is in the background. But yeah, that's the sum up of the process.
Wow. Yeah, it's a great vision, and I know you've been working on this for a little while now. So it shows you, it goes to show how challenging this can be. The other work that we showcased from you was this latest release, this more of a music video oriented thing. And can you? I know it's not necessarily as involved with AI on the musical side, although I'm not fully sure about that. But what I loved about it was that you're using all these AI techniques on the visual side. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
So first off, the video is by Dalina Tran, my longtime collaborator on visuals, and she works with AI models, basically manipulating visuals towards automation. I wish she was here to explain it better, but the video is crazy, isn't it? I'm like, when we did it, when I saw the result, I was like, what is this? And we've been talking about the challenges on the film side, like what is the meaning of a film that was completely generated and not shot ever. And her work is basically moving towards that. And the audio side, how this matches really well, in my opinion, is that the audio is completely sampled from it's from granular synthesis to automated MIDI sequencing, and like it's a mishmash of everything. But the way it works with the video, I think it's mostly because of how sample based everything is. The visuals is kind of sample based as well. It's like, as I know Dadabots says this a lot, it's like it's almost like a machine completely hallucinating. It's like completely like dreaming. And it's funny because when I read what they wrote, I was so excited. Dadabots wrote about this machine hallucination. For years I was comparing my process of basically sitting and tripping while making music, like hallucinating while making music, to how sort of data models work in general, since deep learning was a thing as well, and backpropagation. You can all trace it and compare it to how we sort of trip and hallucinate during a creative process. We completely go into this weird mode where we dream on a high level while not being in a REM sleep, right? So I think the video as well, it speaks to that. It speaks to the sort of hallucination that Dalina basically delivered in the best way possible.
Yeah. And I think it's a really great, those two works really showcase how quickly when you're building AI models for music, how quickly it bleeds over into other spaces. Like, how do you visually, if you have this sort of intelligent agent as a musician, how do you represent that musician? How do people interact with that musician? So yeah, I love that about your work, where you're considering sort of all of those angles sort of all the time. It seems like a lot of work.
No.
Stella, I'd love to talk about your pieces as well.
Yeah, so you heard the two pieces, which were like some experiments we did together with Ash last year, around the time when Jukebox was released. We just wanted to test its continuation and generation. So we tested the continuation on some of my own music or some of Yona's music. Then we used some music source separation network at the end of the process to like kind of augment the material we could work with. And there is also an automatic microsampling. We were doing some after the sampling, some feature extraction and similarity computation to this, because we wanted to find some coherent clusters of similar sounding audio in terms of like coherent in terms of textures, sounds, and then we kind of like glued everything together according to the similarity. Also by layering different pieces of different clusters, for example. So yeah, that was it. The audio quality is not so good because we also let's say we don't have like infinite GPUs available. So yeah, we were running on Colab and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the most challenging thing was that like finding a way for this process to be kind of independent from human curation at some point. We wanted it to have like its own aesthetics and to be able to generate some coherent textures and to really learn how to make a certain type of music, no? And also, yeah, as Ash was saying before, this is also a matter of like creating coherent visuals, coherent like artworks that can like walk side by side with the composition, with the audio composition.
Yep. Yeah, I loved what I really liked about your project was how you're using different technologies to sort of create this ongoing system that was sampling on itself. I know you were telling me that you actually were generating the polyphonic mix and then using Spleeter, AI models to split out the individual instruments. Can you tell us just a little bit more about that process and what inspired you to do that?
Yeah, so yeah, we were using Splitter. We thought of using Splitter just because we wanted to like have new material with which we could like create like a feedback loop. So after the generation result of the source separation and then back into the continuation again by jukebox, just to see how it would behave having, for example, one drum stem and how it would like continuate on its own generation, like post-processed own generation and something like that. Yeah, this is the idea of recycling that we came up with Dash, like recycling the same audio material to be like coherent and to create like a flow, a circle of coherent music.
Yeah, which is exactly what human musicians do all the time. Even if they're performing the same song, they're gonna read the vibe of the band and
this
play
is
accordingly, right?
Yeah, this is what I do also. I mean, I think a lot of musicians, they kind of resample themselves, no? Try to find like resample themselves. So this is kind of the process.
Yep. And you're a data scientist at Musicxmatch, and how do you find these more creative projects in comparison to sort of more your day-to-day data science engineering tasks?
So yeah, I mean, there is we can see a lot of like new, like there is a lot going on in the natural language processing fields in terms of generation, right? So GPT-3, OpenAI, all the other projects by OpenAI. What I hope, what I think it will be next, like we are seeing visuals and audio going together. I think we will be able to like condition more and more the music generation with text or with like vocal inputs.
Yeah.
So I feel that like very soon everything would be like working together in a super big system, and maybe everything would be more like personal, like more focused on the single artist. Like, I don't know, maybe I could really train some model on my music, my visuals, and my like textual narrative, my lyrics all together, and so that I can create like a artificial version of myself, and like pick some samples from that, generate, continuate, and
yeah. So it seems like research is sort of providing more and more tools to push this whole space forward. So yeah, I wanted to ask. The reason I brought you together as a panel is because I think while a lot of people have experimented with music generation, not a lot of people have tried to make it happen in real time or happen, as a virtual artist. It provides some extra challenges when you're trying to do that. I know, with our work, we sort of had to build from the ground up, where we assumed that the sort of emotion of the music that we were generating was dynamic, and that's sort of what we focus on. But do you feel like I wanted to ask you, did you feel like you built an autonomous musical agent, or how far do you think you are from being able to do that, or how far is the technology out there from being able to do that?
So I think it's not completely autonomous, as I said before, because it really needs a lot of fine tuning in the end. In fact, some of the samples you heard were post processed by Ash, which made some applied some mastering chain to it. Also, there is the process of music curation at the beginning. So I guess that it is possible to do a system in real time, maybe not like using variational autoencoder, why not? But at some point you need to find a way to like just make it like auto feeding from its own. Like the idea of the auto feeding and recycling was this in the end, no? So at the end, I think it could be possible, just to find like a compromise between aesthetic, audio quality, and all these features together.
Yep. CJ, I feel like you've tried to, a couple of times now, you've tried to encapsulate, a particular artist's style with the Reaps project, but also with, Infinite Bass Solo, where it was just, that was even sort of a mostly monophonic project. Do you feel that, I know you said that in the case of Reaps, he did feel like he had an opponent. Do you feel like that's the case with the Infinite Bass Solo, or, what other things would you need to get to that point where maybe at some point we could pass the musical Turing test with these models?
Oh, I think we've already blown past the Turing test. I can throw on some generative punk rock, and none of my friends know the difference. With Infinite Bass Solo, that was mainly about sampling. And lots of people ended up sampling it. Like Jason sampled it in his track. And as far as autonomous music agents goes, I guess, autonomous is easy. Like a CD player, you can leave it on running. You can leave your Spotify playlist and running. It's autonomous. What's interesting, I think, is how does it affect humans? Like, can you cause a whole new subgenre music scene to start, like just by discovering a way to make sound that no one has discovered before. That's what I think is the hard part and the most interesting part.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think that is a big challenge as well. As you know, at Melodrive, we were building AI music for gaming, and it was very hard to get it to the point where game developers were excited to put it in their own system, because you know, it was sort of it. I think it did sort of pass the Turing test of like different genres, but then after a while, it just sort of gets stale, or you know, the quality isn't quite what they expect compared to a human. Um, so Ash, I know you've had some challenges with this, trying to build a virtual artist, and could you tell us more about the challenges around, you know, releasing an artist, a virtual musical artist, and how you can sort of make people, or how you approached making people care about it, essentially.
Yeah, it's funny because there are two sides to it, which haven't succeeded. One is when you say the music is by AI, and actually a lot of people don't like it. And then when you don't say it's AI and people don't care about it because there's no image behind it, it's just audio. So we're past that stage that audio by itself matters, sadly. Um, and I agree with CJ actually on the fact that we've passed the Turing test a long time ago. It's like we don't even know at this stage why people like music. Is it because of the person performing it? Like it's a very strange
Yeah.
phenomenon in my opinion. Like music is continuously becoming more ambiguous, like in terms of like why it becomes successful. So with Yona and the band that was created around it, different characters, there were different voice models. It's funny, nobody knows that one of them is actually my voice that has been trained, and it's like I have this model somewhere as my voice that raps and sings and stuff, which is really weird. But because we said AI, it wasn't successful in my opinion. If we actually hadn't said it, and they had come out in one episode of Fortnite or like in one episode of a GTA Online session, they would have been way more famous and successful. And the music would have resonated. Because in one of the songs, this character Moni, which is my voice, by the way, I'm just revealing it. The lyrics is talking about games and like how the character is sad about shooting other people in a game, and that was basically trained is a transformer completely trained on Reddit game chats and stuff, and like people were talking about like shooting each other and stuff. So assigning those emotions to these characters helped, but I think the big challenge is similar to how electronic music in a live sense started. So when you think about remixes and the remix culture and using DJ decks live in the 80s 90s, right, the way it was growing up, it was because of the places it was happening in. That scene was happening somewhere. So AI music is similar to that. It's no different than that. It's like if you had techno coming up and there was no place for it, there was no physical place for it, right? It was just by itself as a genre, and people had to listen to it and think about it. It would have never happened like this. So AI music needs its place. It needs its spatial, sort of multi-sensory aspects that the people just get stimulated by continuously, and then they engage with it. They have some sort of activity with it, and they make memories with it. That's the reality. We're not gonna, as creators in this space, we will never be able to run away from this fact that AI music still doesn't have its place in the sort of new internet, if you will, right? And my hunch is like the closest I've gotten in research is that gaming and virtual worlds and these spaces that we've created online is the closest to that. Um, and I'm sure if a game character during Red Dead had come up with a banjo and like just did a song for me, that would have been the peak moment of AI music, right? It would have been real time, it would have been live stream, like all of the techniques that we are chasing, it has to be put into use in that sense. So yeah, I think finding a place for it, which I'm after kind of, I use like I'm trying like generative video and putting in a game scenario. We actually took Yona to Music Festival, and Yona was this game character in a game world on the screen. people were just like looking at a game pretty much, and I learned in that very moment that I wish the audience could have played with that world or did something in that world. um yeah, so I think there's a really big future for this, despite a lot of the lack of interest in the major music industry around music AI. And a lot of people think, oh, AI music is gonna replace musicians and stuff. Like, these are really primitive arguments, in my opinion. We're constantly looking for new genres. We're looking for new sound, and this is just a new form, a new sound, a new way of entertaining people.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. So we've got about 5 minutes left, and we got at least one question. So um, we have a question from Team Smorgasbord for CJ. Or I guess for anyone. But the question is, if you had infinite processing power and credits and any training took nominal time, what AI-based project would you love to do?
Oh, wow. Well, train it on everything, have it be conditioned on everything. And then, so, I mean, the hard part is generating. If generating can be real time and for laptops and phones, then it's immediately accessible to everybody. And like, as Ash is saying, like, this needs to be something that gives people memories that they can, play with. Right now it's hard to play with it. It's very slow and accessible for most people. So once it's at that point where you're playing with it, you're creating, like a 5-year-old can just come up with music that sounds amazing and no one has ever heard of before. Then we've made it.
Yeah. Stella, Ash, do you have any ideas around that one?
Yeah, well, I think we kind of are trying to do this in a way. We're trying to reduce the costs, but what we did, we were trying to make 4 minutes, use GPUs basically to generate 4 minutes, then separate it, then generate another 4 minutes of each instrument, and then forever try to like multiply it. But yeah, so if we have more GPU power or endless GPU power, obviously we're just going to continue that endlessly, and it would become a stream that people can dip in and like just use it forever. There's no such thing as like music, like what is this splice, right? There's no such thing as splice anymore. Or I don't know, like you could just like as a musician plug some buttons and just like press it and say order my new pop song, and it's going to just jump out.
Yeah. I mean, the two things are sort of tied together, right? When we were building Infinite Album, we had to be considerate of the fact that we are designing this for streamers to be playing the music, on their desktop as they're playing games, as they're broadcasting their gameplay, as they're interacting with the chat. And I think what's exciting about what I'm excited about what we're doing is enabling the audience to actually engage in real time with the music, which is something that's been it's been possible to do on streaming platforms in a visual way, where you can, you can subscribe and your name will pop up, or you can trigger emojis or whatever. But now what we're trying to do is actually have people say, hey, let's add a sub bass to this track while the streamer is streaming, or let's increase the intensity, or let's change it to children's music. And I think it's interesting because the current definition of a song really has two parts in terms of like the legal copyright, which is the recording and the actual songwriting. So it completely obliterates the idea that an audio song is going to be encapsulated in like a single MP3, or it's going to be this repeatable, playable thing. We're going to have, I think in the future, we're going to have all these dynamic forms of songs that are still really impactful, but don't necessarily adhere to the traditional system of publishing and recording and all that stuff. Great. Don't think we have any other questions. So maybe we'll just wrap it up with one final question. I guess what is your like dream of like, what would you want to achieve in this space if you look back on your career? what do you want from the future in terms of the space and your contribution to it?
I guess one of the things that I would like to happen is to, like, as CJ was saying, is to make these tools available and accessible to everyone, also for the non-coders artists. And this, I think this is the only way this could become real a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
So I think this could be like a real challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Once everybody is on the same playing field with these tools, that can create the space like Ash was talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go like 20 years from now, 50 years from now. I hope all of us, we meet in 20 years. And I wanted to see where this has gone in 20 years. But I first I hate the process of labor in music, because I lost 15 years of my good life to learn like 7-8 instruments, become an audio engineer, become a mastering engineer, become a producer, blah blah. And I enjoyed the results, but I didn't enjoy all the nights I had to stay up until 5 a.m. And I don't want that for the next generation. That's what I don't want. I want people to imagine, and from the point of imagining to point of result, this has to get closer and closer. Like the moment we dream of something, it can be rendered. I don't know, a dream render machine or like a thought render machine. And maybe in 20 years we're going to achieve that, but I really want to see that happening. And when I think about something, there's so much complexity around the tools we build that can convey the immediate results with maximum probability, and just get me closer to what I just heard in my head or saw in my head. Yeah, I think one of the biggest features for AI art in general is that fact that humans are really slow in processing what they just thought of and what they imagined. It takes them years to build the skills, and by the time they know it, they're just too old, and the economy around what they're doing just fucks it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're dreaming of the Matrix, basically, the movie.
Yeah.
To learn Kung Fu in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish, yeah.
CJ, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the goal with AI music is the same as the goal for music. Is there any community building tool like better than music? And humans have been using this for community buildings for hundreds of thousands of years at least. And so that's one. Two, like I've heard of hospitals where they say that the music therapy program is the most effective form of therapy that they have. So, hands down, music's incredible. And AI music is just continuing that. But if I were to be a futurist and think like 100, 200 years out, if, as the theory goes, if music was sort of a proto-language before verbal language, what can we achieve when we have like instant music creation ability, whether it's hooked up to our brains or it's just where the controls are really expressive? What does that do to communication?
Music like tweets.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really cool thought. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so I got to wrap it up, so we can't dive into that one. But I wanted to thank my panelists so much for joining us and having this great discussion. And I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed the chat, and we'll see you at the next panel.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Cheers.